Alright everyone, Alec here from Reddit's /r/Hex Encounter community. Going to resume my playthrough of D-Day at Omaha Beach that we had left off last time. And I don't know if I want to make it a habit of playing a game to completion from a how it's played stream. I think a couple of turns or a demonstration should be sufficient, but we were close enough to a victory condition, or I guess in this case a loss condition, that I thought it might be illustrative to run this one to its completion. So here's the save from the last time we had played, and we can just quickly look at the board. Again, we had the eastern beaches here being relatively well attacked, and the western beaches, the attack is more or less faltering, noting that I have 5 losses for the 8 that are needed for the catastrophic loss. I think it's important to note now that how the victory conditions work, and it was pointed out to me on the Reddit comments that I hadn't clearly described those, so I'll go ahead and pause now and do so. So in this short game, the victory conditions are based on victory points. 19 victory points to win the scenario. Anything less than that is a loss. The Allies will get 1 victory point for every German reinforcement position, which are all of these positions back here behind the beaches. Let me show the map here. So for each of these positions, if it's in U.S. control and not subject to... Actually, I'm sorry, if it's in U.S. control, that's a point. For all the WN positions, that is also a point. The 2 hex positions are worth 2 points, but you must control both hexes. So given that that's the case, you can just go through and try and secure all those. But more importantly are controlling these draws. There are 4 draws. Draw D1, draw D3, it appears here. Very large draw. Draw E1 and draw E3. Also a very large draw. And the reason why the draws are important is because these were what were needed to get the heavy equipment and materiel off of the beaches. So the U.S. needed to secure these to support a larger offensive. Now, for that reason, these are each worth 5 victory points. If you control all hexes south of this seawall here, you can see the seawalls for each position. Okay, so what do we mean by control? Control means that a U.S. U.S. unit occupies or controls each of the hexes in the draw, and a U.S. unit controls an adjacent hex if it is a not reduced strength unit. If it's a unit that has a stripe, like these units, they don't control adjacent hexes. Full strength units do. So a full strength unit will control the adjacent hexes, but more importantly, a German unit must not have a field of fire into that hex. So if the Germans are essentially threatening any of the hexes in the draw, you don't control it. And so securing the draws is very important, but it can be very difficult to do. So towards the end of the shorter scenarios, you'll generally find yourself blitzing to secure the draws, so you meet the mid-game check, or if you're doing the short scenario, that you meet those victory conditions. Okay, so we'd ended the game in the turn 5 end turn phase, with some things looking pretty, some things not so pretty. Okay. So now we're on to the turn 6 U.S. operations phase. We will head back to the card table and start with our landing checks. Not a lot of units landing actually this turn, or at least not on the east sector, so we'll start there. Okay, pulling out our handy dandy play aid with the landing results. Okay, so this is a artillery piece with a triangle. That's result A, and that means that the piece is delayed, placed 3 turns later on the turn track. So not so much with that guy getting to the beach. Oh, and we are on turn 6. Actually, tell you what, I had missed a step. So at the end of turn 5, we hit a card shuffle. You see right here on turn 6, it says shuffle cards. So now that we are on turn 6, before I pulled that, you would need to shuffle the cards to re-randomize the deck. So let me discard play cards and reshuffle deck. Okay, so now it's a shuffle deck. East landing, triangle, B. Okay, so that means drift 2 boxes east. And now this guy will make it ashore. Okay, great. Now I'll go ahead and bring him on. Okay, for our western beaches, let's see here. Starting with this triangle, that's a B result for the infantry, which is drift 1 box east. The general and his headquarters aren't subject to drift, so he'll head right on in. And then finally we've got this artillery piece here. It's a circle. Circle is symbol A, and A for artillery in this phase of the game mean they're delayed. So he will go 3 turns ahead on the turn track, and we'll see him again in turn 9 if we don't lose the game by then. Okay. And that looks like that's it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've got a ranger unit that's got a diamond. Diamond is A. Okay, so here we actually reach an interesting ability of the rangers. A is no effect. However, ranger infantry may voluntarily drift 1, 2, 3, or 4 boxes to the east. So I can actually push him a couple boxes, any of these boxes to the east, should I choose. And that's actually a very interesting possibility here. May as well write these guys off for loss. I've got 2 steps between the 2 units and not a lot going. You know, it takes several turns for these rangers to crawl up there. But if I come over here to Dog Green Beach, I could potentially support this push here against draw D1. So that's what I'm going to do. So he's going to drift over here from Dog White to Dog Green. I'm sorry, from Dog Green to the other side of Dog Green. Okay, so all those guys now come ashore. Okay. And the general and his headquarters. Okay, so those are all ashore now. And we can populate the beaches with the reinforcements landing next turn. So let's see here. That will be... and again, these have no specific approach that they have. I can put them anywhere within their assigned beach. So we got some rangers. Plop these guys in a couple of different hexes. Give me some flexibility with where they go. And over here I've got some infantry units for Easy Red and Fox Green beaches. Let's see. I'm looking a little weak in the middle, but that's okay. I don't have to take the entire beach all at once. I just have to secure a landing spot. So I'm actually going to push these guys kind of as far over on Easy Red as the game will let me push them. Noting here actually that we're going to go to mid-tide next turn, so oh boy, we're going to go to mid-tide next turn. I forgot to move my tanks up. Okay, so this is going to be exciting and probably somewhat crappy, since I've got a lot of tanks here, darn it. So what happens when we get to next turn, which will be the mid-tide turn, is units will start landing here 1 hex deeper onto the beach, but that also makes this front set of beaches unplayable, the tide's coming in, which unfortunately means that a number of essentially any unit that's not cleared the beach is going to be washed away or submerged. So I'm going to have to spend a few activations, a few of my limited activations, moving non-infantry units forward. So that's going to slightly delay my attack posture this turn. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. So that was our amphibious operations. First event phase. Back to the turn track. Oops, I'm sorry. Back to the card table. Hopefully we can get a beneficial event this time. Yes, I'll take it. Okay. Place a hero marker on any U.S. unit in the 1st Division And I can, I prefer a hero in the 29th, but we'll take it. And add a German depth marker. So let's get a hero. There it is. Okay. So this was a first division hero. Head here to the leaders. Alright, and all of these actually represent actual heroes from these landings that if you look them up on Wikipedia or read the histories, they did some amazing stuff. They really did. And we really have them all to thank for the successes of these landings. Their units did some amazing things. So I will use Barrett, start going down the list, and he will spawn, if you will, in easy company of 216, all the way back here in the lines. He's going to lead the charge against probably this infantry position. So I will take that development. And leaders get to activate their units or heroes get to activate their units for free. So that will not take one of our activations. That probably we'll be using to get everyone off of the beach. Okay, so there was another side to that event, which was add a depth marker to one German unit. And unfortunately, that's probably going to be this very same position. Nope, it's already got a depth marker. Haha. So remembering that the priority on adding depth markers are positions adjacent to allied units. And really, only two fit the bill, right? Nope, that one's already got a depth marker. So, only one fits the bill. That's over here in hex 812. This poor, this unit really gets a lot of reinforcements. And poor Fox 216 here can't catch a break on rooting them out. But okay, I'll take it. So let's go ahead and pull up the reinforcement table. Here are the German depth markers, and we'll plot that there. Okay. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to click that. Okay, so we got that taken care of. The event's been resolved. So now we're into the German fire phase. As usual, we'll pull cards one at a time. Okay, so we're going to have two parts to this. First off, we'll have the standard German fire, but now we have an artillery symbol, so we'll get a chance to resolve artillery fire as well. So let me just pull out the handy-dandy flip book again. That way I make sure I do the artillery fire right. Here we go. We'll start with the standard fire. And let's see, what do we have here? We've got yellow with a single, so that's this 88, and he's got a number of possible targets in his intense fire zone, but of course the closest to him is our hero unit, and that unit will go ahead and inflict a step loss. Now the good news is the heroes themselves kind of act as wild cards, so he can fill one missing piece of equipment, so that step loss isn't unexpected. I was really expecting to take that step loss. Blue with 2 now activate, and luckily for us this blue unit only has 1, so he does not activate. And then green with 2 activate. And let's take a look here. Okay, so this single marker in the rear doesn't have enough to activate. And this one in the the northernmost position is disrupted, so it doesn't activate. However, it will lose its disruption. And I'll flip that to remind myself. Okay, so now we resolve the artillery fire. What we do is we count all undisrupted artillery units in the sector, both in these positions and also the sector artillery up here, that fulfill the requirements. In this case, I need 188 piece. And you'll notice that one flak back here, which supporting WN, is 88, and additionally I've got an 88 here in this position undisrupted. So the artillery fire does happen. So if the total artillery value is greater than or equal to the artillery value, one U.S. unit with this symbol here, the triangle symbol, is hit. So first, the priority is an infantry unit in a beach landing box. Okay, so notice that I've got beach landing boxes here, and that would be this guy. So these guys coming in on the water, we're catching some artillery shells, and it takes a step loss. Okay, so that's artillery. Let's move on to the west sector. Hopefully these guys fare better than they have been. I'll start by activating yellow again, any one yellow, and he's got 2, so he can inflict 2 step losses against circle in steady fire zones. So real quick, where are our steady fire zones for yellow? Pretty much anywhere back here. This hex here with the 2 reduced strength units is, is steady fire, not intense fire. So show map again. So these 2 hexes are the intense fire hexes, and there's 1 unit each, so they will each take a step loss, which for us, not shockingly, increases the losses for that division. So that's super. Okay, so yellow's activated. Now we've got brown and blue. I'll start with brown since it's over here. I do have enough symbols. We've got 3 German depth markers or units here, so that's up to 3 step losses by brown. Again, prioritizing intense fire positions, which are anything kind of back by here. So there is nothing in the intense fire positions. So now I'll look for circles in the steady fire positions. And easy 2 116 fits the bill. So it will be eliminated. And really, I actually think that is about it. Let me, peek at the map here. There's really no other circles. They've already done all their killing. So brown had the potential to be much more disrupting, but it actually didn't. And now we've got blue activating. It just needs a single, and it has a death marker, so it can inflict 2 step losses. And that is a steady fire area. And A1116 Able company there is matches the circle, so they are eliminated. Okay, that could have been worse. Not a lot of damage there. Let's move on to the U.S. Engineer and Headquarters phase, which again is us clearing more beach. So let me take a look, starting here, I guess, on the western beaches. Blue activated, yellow and brown activated. So that means I can clear, let's see, where am I clear to? Here. I've only cleared these 3 hexes, and I can't go any further this way because of the yellow and brown activations. But this marker here can move 2 to the right. That'll open some up for me. Actually, though, what I may want to do is I've got some more units coming in. Oh, but blue did activate, so perhaps I do these 2 hexes here, since I do have units coming in. So let me do this hex and this hex. Okay, very good. Let me. Oh, that was unfortunate. There we go. Okay. Going over here to our east beaches now. Yellow activated, so I won't be able to do any of these, but they were the only ones that activated, actually. Red and blue didn't, so I will just continue to push the clear beach this way. Okay. Oh, and in fact, that just married up here with this one. Okay, so now pretty much this entire beach is clear. So I won't really have any problems with landing checks once the tide comes in. Well, of course, much less so here on the side of the 29th. Okay, U.S. action phases. First and foremost, as we always do, let me do my preservation moves. Get guys off of... oh, and pull up this disrupted marker, of course. Okay, get guys off of the beach. And you'll notice when I do these preservation type moves, I leave the move flag on. That way I know that they've done an action. If you're playing on your tabletop, you can use any of a number of other means to track that information. But trying to get these guys into beaches, into where they're going. Okay. All of these units are doing self-preservation moves. However, since they began the action phase adjacent to a headquarters or, in this case, a general, they may also not require activation since they're activated by the general. That's really the big thing that comes from getting heroes, leaders, and headquarters on the map, is they allow you to activate units without having to spend one of your limited activations. So then placement of units around leaders becomes quite important. Alright, so briefly here. Okay. Let me get the self-preservation move of these units. A good way around that. I will use the leader to activate the tanks to move. So this is me using the advantage of having a unit in command of a headquarters or a general. So he will command the tanks to move off the beach, or at least move up the beach, into, unfortunately, intense fire zones, but what are you going to do about that? So we'll move the tanks up. So I'll split them. I'll move, I guess I'll have, for now, the general and the HQ kind of go this way. Okay, so I think all those folks have moved. Oh, wait, no, we got more here. Bravo 1116, or Baker 1116 here, doesn't get a self-preservation move. It is in a protected hex side, but the rest of these units will. This unit does not. It is artillery. So that's something I'll consider using an activation to protect. Okay, so that's the end of the preservation and the free moves. This guy here will get a free move. I guess we can go ahead and do that now. I want to save my limited activations to bring up a couple of these tanks. I think we'll have to lose one full-strength tank. That's just going to be terrible, but it is what it is. So Easy 216 will attack this German position. So I get to reveal that marker, and it requires, it's strength 2. That's no protective hex side, so its strength is as printed, and it requires a bazooka and an MG. I provide the bazooka, and the hero, using his wildcard ability, provides the MG. So I meet all the weapon requirements, and I double that strength, which means I now flip the depth marker. Okay, and for the moment say GG, because that AR means that this needs armor. So a tank has to be attacking this position in order to remove that depth marker. So I do have an option at this point, which I don't think I'm going to exercise, which would be attrition. So looking over here, the combat results table, I do not possess the required weapons. My attack strength is greater, but not double. And so this is a German unit and a revealed depth marker, no effect. Okay, so I can't take the optional attrition here because I don't have enough strength. So at this point, it's just kind of the attack falters. My US unit's not disrupted, which is what happens when an attack goes very poorly, but neither is the German unit. I'm going to have to bring a tank, or possibly this artillery, close enough to provide fire on this position. And that's going to be rough. So that's the end of that attack. I will move the hero, mark him moved, so I know that I've used him. Okay. Ooh, another free action. I get to remove this climb marker finally. Climb marker done. He's been activated. And same thing here with this unit, so delete the climb marker. Okay, so I now know who's moved, who's activated. I'll flip back depth of the units. Okay, so I get my 2 standard activations, and I think I kind of have to use that to rescue a few of my units here. So I'm going to take an action here and move him to the mid-tide line. And I'm going to do the same thing with this entire stack. I'm going to take advantage of the fact that you can activate an entire stack for the cost of one action if they all do the exact same thing, which is what we're going to do. So unfortunately, these people are just kind of left behind to wash away, and not a lot of attacks going on in this sector. Coming over here to this sector, phooey. I am in a bit of a similar circumstance. No one's in a good position to attack anything. I certainly don't think that would be a wise attack. I can move up this unit. That'll be one of my actions. And then I think my remaining action, actually, let's all mull that over for a second, and we'll resume the stream in just a minute. Okay, folks, we're back. Sorry for the interruption. We were considering, I believe, what to do with our second unit activation. Obvious choices that come to mind are move this AA unit up so that he can provide a little bit of support to an advancing unit. But really, I think I need to get a attack ready for next turn, which will mean I'll have to spend an activation to move one of these units up. Examining the terrain effect chart, I'm looking at those bluffs there and trying to figure out how the attack apps are. So I can't attack across these bluffs. Attacks are prohibited. I can attack across the gray dash slopes at great peril, with the unit receiving strong bonuses if I do. Fortunately, I've really got nothing coming here on the attack here, although I did have a successful attack against this position last turn. What I think I will do is, actually I don't have a lot of activations right now. Yeah, I think I'll let a couple of these guys wash away. I will activate this unit and move him here. What he will start to do is work his way to climb this bluff and attack these two WN positions from between them. If I can climb a bluff, I think I can climb a bluff. Sounds like something you should be able to do, right? Or maybe you can't. Maybe I can climb slopes but not bluffs. Maybe that was a very bad idea. No, you can move across slopes and you can climb bluffs. Easy. So there you go. That's the US action phase. So now we'll do our end of turn adjustments in turn. And we'll move the turn track one turn forward. Okay, so this is now mid-tide. So let's start by washing away anybody that didn't make it out. Control D for elimination. Clean up the beach here a little bit. Alright. So the tide has come in. One thing that we can do now that we could not have done before is a voluntary delay. So instead of choosing to bring a unit in and putting them into beach checks, we can push them out one or more turns. This gives us a little bit of control on when the forces arrive. For the moment, we probably won't be using that. Okay, so amphibious operation phase, as we have been doing. Let's pull for the east sector. Okay. The triangle is result D, which is drift one box west. Strange. The diamond is result B, drift one box east. Okay, so same there. And the circle is result A, which is no effect. And these guys come ashore, but they come ashore not into this hex, into this hex. Okay, and the thing that we're looking for now that we're in mid-tide is that there's the possibility of a landing hazard, which is why we've been clearing these beaches. So what we need to do is, if the landing card includes an explosion symbol, and we'll look for that, the landed US units might lose a step. So let's take a look real quick, see if we'll get that to come into play for the next. Oops, leave that there. Okay, there we go. So no submerged hazards, thankfully. So everyone gets to where they're going. Let's see here. Rangers. The triangle is result B, drifting one box to the east. The diamond is result C, drifting 4 boxes to the east. And the circle is result A, drifting voluntarily 1 or more boxes east. I'm going to drift just 1. Okay, and so now these guys all come up to their mid-tide locations, not here, but here. Alright, so let's now bring on our next turn's units, and let's take a look what we have here. Primarily, it looks like we've got a number of artillery units. 2 of them armored, mind you. And an AA unit. I will push the AA unit off at least a turn. And bring on the armor units. So let me do this. Let me bring this infantry unit. Has to go to easy red. Bring him in here to easy red 2 along with the HQ. I'll bring me some useful activations. And we'll keep this artillery piece near the HQ. I'll put him in easy red 3 and he can hopefully drift in the right direction. Oh boy, I really don't know what to do with this guy. For now I'll try and have him follow that general in, but we'll see how that goes. Okay. Event phase. Hopefully we can have a not terrible event this time. Place a hero marker on a U.S. unit in the 29th Division and add a depth marker to a German. A little bit of a break we needed here. Oh cow. That is well deserved and a while coming. Okay. I'm going to put the hero here on dog 116. And we're going to run the gambit here into this German position. That's what we're going to do. So let me grab my heroes. 29th Division leaders, Bingaman. Great. And as before, we add a depth marker to a German position. We'll choose ones first adjacent to U.S. positions, but I believe all of them are U.S. units. I believe all of them have their depth marker. And they do. So now we're going to go 2 positions away. So that 75 there is eligible. This 75 is eligible. Boy, a lot of these guys are already pretty strong enough. All right, I think this is going to be it. The priority scheme has single hex positions taking priority over 2 hex positions. So this green hex will be receiving his depth marker. Hopefully I'm running out of these things soon. Alright, so that was our first event phase. German fire. Starting with the east sector. So we've got yellow. Ugh, ouch. Can I phone a friend? Okay, so yellow's going to hit, red's going to hit, that's this guy over here, and brown, no brown active, so it could be worse. So I've got 2 step losses being incurred for yellow, and they do not, actually, and given that those armor units are in intense fields of fire, I don't think being armor helps them. Nope, U.S. units of every type lose and target symbol lose a step. So my hero here, his unit's going to have to take a step loss. But so is 1 unit in this hex. It's got to be the one with more steps. They have the same amount of steps, so I will choose to have this one take a step loss. We'll put the tank on top. But now I got to figure out what I'm doing with the hero. So one option you have when you have a hero and that unit takes a step loss is they can't kill the hero outright unless they get the correct symbol, which is a star on that German position activation. What they can't, but what you can do is do a heroic sacrifice, which is the hero takes the step loss for the team. Real quickly, I'm going to flip in the rules and ensure that I'm recalling that correctly. Pardon me. Yeah, hero sacrifice rule 11.14. hero may be killed by German fire. You may also voluntarily sacrifice them in the circumstances to save a unit. Oh, okay, the hero's with a one-step unit, so that's not an option. It has to be a one-step unit. So his unit steps down, and he only has a Bangalore. So we are getting a little thin up here. And that unit is becoming decisively not useful to root out that 88 position, but he could be useful here against the 75. Time will tell. Alright, so that was the yellow activation. He hit his 2. And then the remaining activation we had was red. Red activates just fine, and he's got 3 units and markers, so he can affect 3 step losses. Looking at the map here, steady fire for this unit, steady fire for this unit, but this unit is an intense fire. So one of the step losses is going to come from here. And then the other 2, if the symbols match, it's a triangle. So this matches, so that's a second step loss here. Okay, bringing that down to a single step. And keep in mind, this red position fires across the way and actually can hit units in this area. But he doesn't have the armor bonus. So that is that for red. Looking now at west sector. Let's see, our favorite, yellow, activates. Ability to hit up to 2 hexes here. And unfortunately, Mid-Tide has brought all of our units into the intense field of fire. So all of these units here are intense fire sectors for yellow. And so they will each take a step, oh, and only 2 of them get to take step losses. And so that will be driven by 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, all right. So they're all 3 hexes away from that German unit. And so that'll be driven by number of steps. So this one will take a loss, and this one will take a loss. I guess those are the breaks. So yellow has activated. Red and blue remain to activate. So red has his depth marker, so he will inflict up to 2 step losses. And unfortunately, we got 2 ranger units. I've got a ranger unit here in an intense field of fire, so he'll take 1. I'm looking for another triangle in a steady field of fire, and I don't think I have one. Yes, I do. So this ranger, 2 rangers. Fabulous. And then finally I've got blue. And blue activates and hits triangle. And that is enough to get the rangers. And yeah. So, okay. Awesome. So that's the German fire phase. Thankfully, we're not any closer to losing here on the with 6 units lost. We'll go to the U.S. engineer phase. We now that we are at mid-tide, I believe the rate of progress is slowing as the engineers are bumping into. Pardon me. They're bumping into other units, and the waters are starting to come up. So my recollection is that in this phase, the engineers only pull off 1 hex worth. Here we go. And looking it up in the rules. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, here we go. During low tide turns, they may do 2 hexes. During mid tide turns, 1 hex. So, let's take a look here. Red activated, so in the east sector, and yellow activated too. There's actually not going to be a whole lot we can pull off here. This hex right over here, that's the one. That's the only one we can do. So I guess I will clear it. Okay. And then finally on the 29th side, yellow, red, and blue activated. So let's see, yellow goes all the way through here, red goes all the way through here, blue goes all the way through here. Okay, so nobody gets to act. Nobody gets to help. The entire beach was lit up. Moving on to the U.S. action phase. Again, I'm going to conduct self-preservation moves. And I'm going to do this hero move. So the hero is just going to, I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to push him up here across this seawall, into this intense field of fire. But hopefully he'll be able to execute a good attack here against that position. I'll have the Rangers come up in a supporting position. Yep. And now I've got these guys. They will move together into that sporadic fire, preservation move. Yipe. Alright, this guy's going to actually come in here and pick him up. And subsequently, hopefully they can activate together. And as far as now free moves go, remember, anyone that starts their turn in a hex or adjacent to a headquarter or a general may move with them. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to have let's see here. I'm just checking the terrain effects chart real quick to see who can move across what hex sides. There we go. Okay, I believe the HQ is going to have to stay on the beach. Not the. I should look that up, but the general can move along. So let's do this. Let's these units will move here. We'll get the general. I'm sorry, the HQ. Now we'll move up the tank as well. The HQ will move here to where that tank is, and the general and his tank will move here. Okay. I believe that's the extent of the free moves that I get right now. I still have not used any of my activations. Over here it's going to be a slightly different story. Let me see what... Okay, I'm starting to get to a very cluttered beach. So I may have to rectify that. Let me... move that guy there. That's a self-preservation move. As will this and this. Those are self-preservation moves. I don't think I get any other self-preservation moves. Alright, this hero gets his free action. I can attack across this slope here. As I mentioned, the penalties for doing so can be pretty severe. The combat reductions for attacking across a slope are unit strength and depth doubled, so this is just not pretty. However, if this hero maneuvers himself here, he potentially is in a field of fire here from this red reinforcement position, but he can choose to attack the red reinforcement position or this nest with no terrain penalty. And so I think that's what we'll hope for next turn. Can't attack across the bluff. So that was a free move. Alright, so what I have next are activations. And another depth marker. God, I really love that depth marker. Let me do this. I'm not going to be able to attack this position right now, which is really bad for me. But what I can do is I can try and suppress it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and suppress yellow, and I'm going to assault green. I think that's my play. Yeah, I think that's my play. So I'll start with this suppression on yellow. Mark him. He's a triangle with 4 strength. Action taken. Okay, so this is going to be a barrage against yellow against a triangle unit at 4 strength. Oh, okay, so that is absolutely disrupted. I'm just going to verify that I don't get anything super fancy for attacking a revealed position with such a strong pull there. Let's see here. German unit is disrupted. I will take that. Okay, that's great. And next I will attack this unit using H here. So action taken, I more than double the defense of 2, doubled due to the shingle. So let me reveal that depth marker. And it requires a radio. Thankfully, I guess it's not really all that important what's on the other side of that radio. But I do have a radio because it's a full strength unit with all of its gizmos. So when a full strength unit possesses the weapons and at least doubles the attack strength, let me take a look, verify. The attack strength of the German position is 3. So I at least double it. The German unit with the revealed depth marker. The depth marker is eliminated and the unit is disrupted. Okay, we made this beach a little bit less terrible. And we'll disrupt the unit. Okay, so those are my 2 actions on that beach. Over here, what can I do? What can I do? The suppressing a position sure does sound good. Unfortunately, I've got this big no man's land that I'm going to have to cross and get up on this bluff to attack these positions, which isn't going to happen on its own. I'm going to have to spend actions to do so, unless I can get this general to get people to move things along, which hopefully he will be. For the moment, let me barrage the brown position with triangle. That'll be one of my actions. Okay, I've got brown. Does that help me? Looking at the barrage table. I match German position color, and I've got 4 strength, so I have disrupted the unit. Excellent. Okay. And finally, I'm going to take an activation. I think I'm going to take an activation to move one of my full strength units up a little bit to get in position for an assault. So let me mark him as having taken an action, and we will move here. Hopefully next turn to crawl up. Okay. So those are my actions in turn. On to turn 8. It's now 8 a.m. 2 hours since the beginning of the assault. Amphibious operations. Let's see if people make it ashore. In the east sector, no landing hazards. Circle here has result D, which for that type of armor unit actually means no effect. So he goes exactly where he thinks he's going to go. For this triangle unit, that's result B for infantry, which drifts 1 box to the east. The head corner unit can drift should he choose, but he is actually not going to. He's going to stay right where he is. And these units come ashore to the mid-tide location. Okay, this is going to be great. This headquarters unit now is adjacent to a lot of units, so I'm going to be able to start getting a lot of movement going in this sector. That's fantastic. Moving on to my other beach. I believe I just had the 1 unit, so he's a triangle, I'm sorry, a diamond, which is result B, which for this type of armor unit means drift 2 boxes east, which will bring him adjacent to a headquarters, so I'll be able to activate him as well, which will be good. Hopefully I can get him off of this beach, or at least out of that intense fire. So that was that portion of the amphibious operations. Also notice no symbol in this corner of the card, which indicates a landing hazard, which is good because I'm not in the clear zone. So let's move on to pulling our units off of the turn track. I guess it is time to start putting these guys on, not the card table, but the beaches. Okay, so very specifically, Fox Green 5 here. Sure. So these are DUKW artillery, which are treated specially And essentially, it is very, very, very hard to get them ashore. Essentially, the A result eliminates them, the B result has them lose a step, the C result has them losing 2 steps, and the D result has no effect. That also doesn't change later in the game that you go. It's just when do you want to bring them on, and when might you be able to activate them. So I think I'm just going to do it and try and pack them as close to the leaders as I can. I think I'm going to punt on this one going to easy green. He'll voluntarily delay at least a turn. Easy red. Yep, absolutely. Gonna try and get you here by that headquarters unit. And this guy is also easy red. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Okay. So that's Amphibious Operation, first event. Let's hope for more heroes. Intense German fire reduces action allowance from 2 to 1 in each division this turn. Oh, so frustrating to lose an action, particularly when you only have 2. Thankfully, we've got enough leaders on the board and HQs and heroes, so hopefully we'll still be able to get a lot done. But German fire. We'll see if the Germans have anything to say about that. In the east sector. Oh, and this just came up, so in case you're looking for it, this is the symbol that indicates that a landing hazard has happened, if this were a landing card. Alright, so purple, blue, and green. Let's take a look at the map around purple. These 2 units are both in intense fields of fire, so they will both take a step loss, and that's going to be it, which will reduce my heroic tank and it'll eliminate this artillery piece. Okay, that's purple. Blue and green. Green will not activate because, again, it requires 2 undisrupted markers, and one of the 2 markers is disrupted. So I'll flip that, so remember to pull it, but green does not activate. And blue does activate. It just requires 1 marker this time. And unfortunately, I have quite a bit of strength in the intense fire zone for blue. Yeah, so here, not going to be able to really do anything to that headquarters unit, thankfully. And then, let's see, it's a diamond. Well, we'll see. So certainly, this blue. Yeah, intense field of fire. So this loses a step. Being armored doesn't really help you when you are in an intense field of fire. They'll get you. So step him down. That's 1, and I'm looking for maybe 1 more with a diamond symbol in their steady fire area. Oh, this might be it right here. Yep. Okay. So that was the German fire in this sector. We had green, purple, and blue. In the west sector, we're going to have red, blue, and brown. Oh, hey, didn't we disrupt brown? We did, but unfortunately, brown still activates since it only requires 1. And lo and behold, they have 1. So looking at the brown field of fire arcs, they will get 1 shot off, and they'll hit something in this intense field of fire, which will be the tank, because it has 2 steps. So that is the end of brown's activation, and he will lose his disrupted marker. Then we've got red and blue, so we'll come here to red first. Red activates, we're up to 2 step losses, and he has the armor symbol, so he can hit armor even if it's not in a steady fire, or an intense fire. Not a lot in red intense fire, thankfully. Keep in mind, intense fire for red is really small. But I do have some in steady fire. Oh, unfortunately, including these rangers. So that's 1. Let's see, eliminated. And Okay, so that's actually going to be it. So now the question is, we actually have come far enough down on the priority scale here where I can have to start hitting in the sporadic fire. So in sporadic fire, non-armored US units with the target symbol fire are disrupted. So, according to the normal priority, one of the triangle units with a red open circle, which will include this, unfortunately, this ranger unit, and would also include this really shattered infantry unit, might be subject to disruption. So they are each 3 hexes away, and so we will need to selection priorities. We'll need to figure out which of these gets priority. Alright, so we're going to have to go with the one with the most steps, unfortunately, which means that my beloved rangers there are disrupted, which will keep them from activating this turn. Which is unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Okay, so that was red. We resolved brown, we resolved red, and now we resolved blue. Thankfully, there's just nobody in blue's field of fire, because they already destroyed everybody. So that's that. In the engineer phase, blue activated, red activated, brown activated, so we're not clearing any hexes on the west beach. Looking at the east beach, green did not activate, blue did activate, yellow activated. No, wait, that's a discard pile. Sorry. Green did not activate, purple activated, blue activated. Yeah, so we're not going to be able to clear anything that we haven't already cleared. So I'll remove the no longer applicable disrupted markers, and we will move on to the US phase. Okay, I won't do any self-preservation moves since everyone's already on a beach or is about to take another move anyway. So let me start over here on the beach I like. Really not a fan of that other beach right now. And let's see what we can do here. So the one thing I'm checking right now, yes, okay, excellent, is, but I only have one action to shoot. The tank here provides many of the necessary keywords on a various unit. So it will always provide artillery, the AR. It'll provide bazooka, and if within 3 hexes of the target, it'll provide MG and Browning requirements. So notice here I need a bazooka, an MG, and artillery. So the tank, were it to activate, could provide 2 of those. And we need someone else to provide the... Actually, no, it can provide everything. BZ, MG, armor. Great. The problem is I don't have the necessary number of activations, since I have to spend an activation to activate the tank. So that's not going to happen this turn. Let's see what of these free activations might happen this turn. I am going to have the units adjacent to my head corner unit activate, and we're going to start moving out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this stack because I don't like having a concentrated target. So he will move there, he will move, he will move. That's a lot of concentrated targets. So all these moves are free moves due to starting adjacent to the headquarters. And so I think that's how I'm doing that for now. Okay, and this tank is still eligible for his reactivation, or if I, adjust my activation order, he would be. I'm considering using him to support an assault here, but I really don't need any support for that assault, so I guess that's not a real big deal. Yeah. So, the question then is, what am I doing? I will have this hero. We're just gonna go for it here. Keep in mind these reinforcement positions tend to be fairly nasty. They're fairly strong, so he will try and root out this 75 real quick. So he'll use his activation, and he'll try to root out the 75. All right, strength of 2 requires a mortar and a machine gun. I have neither of those, and the hero only fulfills the requirement for one of them using his wild card. So this is going to get me information, but will likely lead to possibly the loss or disruption of this unit. So 2 to 2. I don't have the desired weapons, so attack strength is equal. I don't have the right weapons, and it's a German unit with an unrevealed depth marker. Attackers, darn it, attackers disrupted and German unit unrevealed. So he goes back to being face down, but that's fine. And I am disrupted. This is going to be a problem. So I'm disrupted due to my action, which means that I will not be able to act next turn either. I can't just pull this up right now. All right. Just scanning this sector, trying to figure out if I can only do one thing. What do I do? If I can only do one thing. I really would like to get rid of this green position, which I can just do with the activation really of any of these units. I think that's what I'm going to do. Is I think I'm just going to activate one of these units. Pick your favorite. He'll be my one activation. He will attack. He has a required weapon, and he's stronger. There's no depth marker here, so that will eliminate. Okay. So, nest 62 is starting to fall. Heading over, and see what these guys have up their sleeves. Any unit starting next to the general or the headquarters gets to activate for free. I'll use that to begin moving this artillery kind of out of harm's way. Let me move this unit and this unit. Tanks can't cross this barrier, I don't believe. Just check that real quick in the terrain effects chart. That is anti-tank. Okay, so that is not going. Yeah, so in the first half of the scenario here, tanks won't be able to cross that obstacle. But in the second half, once you start expanding out your operations, you'll clear those obstacles. Let's see here. These guys are adjacent to the headquarters unit at the start of their turn, so they can actually begin the climb action and climb these bluffs. Alright. And now it's the headquarters unit, and I believe, looking at the rules section on headquarters, I think there actually isn't that requirement that they can't move past those anti-tank obstacles, so I'll have the headquarters move up. If I'm wrong on that, I think will be easy enough to fix. No, I take it back. I'm going to leave the headquarters back here, that way they can enable this artillery piece. Which just moved, but he'll be able to activate later in the game. These rangers now can also activate, and so what I can do... Oh, very exciting. I've got this position here with a depth marker, and I've got the Rangers that can activate for free and this hero that can activate for free. So they are all, I'm going to move them so that they are marked moved, but they're going to all activate together to attack the purple. So this is a coordinated attack, and this guy requires a bazooka. I possess that, and I'm bringing, let's see, 5, 12, clearly more than that, even if it were to be doubled. So switching, I'll reveal the depth marker. Tactical reinforcement, okay. So we'll delete the tactical reinforcement. What happens with the tactical reinforcement is the following. Just got to pull up the priorities. German reinforcement priorities for the tactical marker. Place a reinforcement in an empty position nearest to the triggering nest. And so I've got this position here 2 away, and that's really the closest. So for those of you following along at home, that's rule 9.4. I draw it from the tactical reinforcement pool. And it does not get a depth marker. So let me pull that up here. German tactical reinforcements, and there he is. So got some more units coming in depth. Unfortunately for this guy, it also means that he is now eliminated, since there's actually no real depth in his hex. Small advantages. Now, one thing you'll notice is there is no advance after combat in this game. So you notice I'm not just scooting in there. That was good. I'll take that. I will be able to, with one of these units, with one of these ranger units, continue on. However, his buddy here has a disrupted marker, and I'll have to use the activation to remove the disrupted marker. Okay. And I've yet to use my action for this sector. What I think I might use it for. So I've got this stack of units here that's got a fair number of resources and 6 fire points. Tempted to run the gauntlet here at brown. An alternative play can be take this unit and get him to climb the bluff, putting him behind these 2 positions, which can cause some real damage. I think I'm going to do that. So let me take his action, he will climb, and that will give him a climb marker. A lot of climbing this turn. Okay. So, I think that's it. We'll go ahead and intern adjustments. Notice when I do the intern adjustments, it will automatically flip this disrupted by action to a normal disruption. And that way I remember to treat the unit as disrupted for the entire turn. I'm surprised I haven't lost catastrophically yet, to be honest with you. This is rather amazing. So I'm sorry, I'll move past the action phase, intern phase, and here we go. Okay, so we're now on 8:15, and back to our amphibious operations. We're getting pretty good at this point. So let me bring up the card table. Here's the east sector. On the amphibious operation, no hazard. That's good. And let's start all of these units. Let's start with the non-DKW unit, since he's got a different line on the amphibious table. So that's a diamond, which is a D, which is no effect. He goes where he thinks he's going. And then on DKW, circle is a B, which loses 1 step. And diamond is a D, which is no effect. Wow, that could have gone a lot more terribly. And these guys will come up here and land with no issues. And thankfully, notice that a number of them are adjacent to this HQ. That was by design. Okay, west sector. A, D, and A. What do we have over here in the west sector? Really, we just have this one circle, D, U, K, W. Circle is A, and A means eliminated. So they're just gone. They sank or were reappropriated or never came. So that's the end of that. Again, also notice that there was no hazard. So let's position our next slate of arrivals, and with an eye towards perhaps perhaps we might hold off on some of these, but maybe not. I'm starting to get a split between my headquarters and my general. The general's pushing up, leading from the front, just like you should, like a good general. Boy, all of these are armor. Bah. So armor is tricky to use. Artillery. Artillery and armor are tricky to use because it's really tough to meet the requirements to activate them, as we'll find here, hopefully shortly. I think I might be able to meet some of those requirements. Until I can land this leader, though, I'm going to have trouble activating a lot of these unless I keep them all right next to this HQ, which actually isn't a terrible idea. So let me do this. What do I have for me for 1st Division? Not a whole lot. Let me take a look here at the voluntary delay and just make sure that I'm moving things an appropriate number of steps. Okay. Alright, so anyway, I can voluntarily delay any of these guys to any... wait 1 second. There was a special note about turn 10. I want to make sure I get that right. I see. If it comes on before turn 10, it must go in its assigned landing box. Otherwise, it's kind of a floater. You can put it anywhere you want. And so what I may do is I might float these guys to turn 11, which then gives me a bit of flexibility on where I put them. So let me do that. I will just move the entire stack. I'll bring nothing on this turn. And I'll float all those guys at turn 11. So that was Amphibious. Events. Okay, so we're on turn 9. And the event is German reinforcements. Place 1 each in zones E and G. Noting on the priority that the German reinforcements. Okay. This is section 9.3. And I always check to make sure I get it right, whether or not they get a depth marker or not. It appears that it also does not get a no depth marker, without depth marker. Okay. So, E and G, and the priorities for which are adjacent to a U.S. unit, lowest number of position if there is a choice. And then if not that, within 2 hexes of U.S. unit, etc. So, E and G. Okay. So here, D, E. Okay, so here are the E units. None of them are really that close. So the closest one really is going to be E4. So he will get a tactical reinforcement. And G. Okay, and G are going to be all of these units. And again, there's nothing really that close. G2 is going to be the closest. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so G2 is going to get it. Nice little line here, reinforcements. This draw is going to be tough to grab. Okay, so where are we next? That was our event. German fire. On the east sector, we have artillery. Let's note that. So purple will activate. That's these guys. And let's see, show map. Purple only has 1 intense fire, and there they are, those tanks. So 2 step losses. First one will be the tank eliminated. And then the second one, it's got to be a circle and a steady fire, which would of course be these guys. Okay. Green activates, requiring 2 units. Only 1 is here, so green does not activate. And then finally brown activates. And yet again, no brown on this side of the board. So, lucked out there. However, I do have artillery. It requires 2 either 88 or 105s. Now, thankfully here, you'll notice that these 88s are disrupted, so they do not count towards that count. So then the question is, this off-board artillery, that they are able to come in. So, let's see, what's this? Show observer. What is that? I believe that these nest positions are the ones that have spotters. So I believe that I've not disrupted all of these positions. Let's see here. 60 is available to spot for the 105s, and 64, 65. Oh, there we go. So these units do have, these are available to spot for the 88s. So that's cool. Okay. So I have the 88 and the 105, both off board, coming in to rain down on me. Going back to the handy flip book in the artillery section, the first priority are units in the landing boxes, and as we just discussed, I actually didn't land anything this turn. So the next is going to be non-infantry units in a beach hex. Okay. So in one of these beach hexes, I go with a non-infantry unit with the most steps, which is going to be likely this 4-step, right here it is, this 4-step unit. So he will lose a step due to artillery. Okay. West sector, red, purple, and blue. Oh, interesting. This side kind of eased up on us. So blue doesn't have anyone in range. Purple requires 2, and I just killed the only one that could have activated that. So purple doesn't activate. Blue activates but doesn't do anything. Purple does not activate. And red activates and can do up to 2 steps of damage. Let me see what I've got here. Use attacking triangle, which includes these rangers, so they'll go away. That's the first step. And that's actually all she wrote. There are no other eligible targets for that sector anywhere, because, again, nothing lived. Gotta live to tell the tale, right? Okay, so that was the German fire phase. Keeping this up here to do the engineer phase, I actually probably will be able to clear something. Blue and red activated, which will take us clear all the way about to here, but that's it. So I can actually clear a little bit more beach here and clear this hex. Excellent. Let me come over here. The only things that activated for me here was purple. But I think... Oh, yep, actually. So that will allow me... Oh, no, I can't clear this hex. This is on the other side. So I actually can't clear anything else. Okay. On to the U.S. action phase. Go ahead and close this window. I'm back to 2 standard activations. And of course all of my self-preservation moves. At this point in the game, most of the infantry units have scrambled their way to some form of protective cover. And so most of my free activations are going to come from headquarters or generals or other leaders. So speaking of which, I think it's time to start getting into the position to attack this 88. And I think I'm going to have to do that in a pretty direct way. So we will move the Rangers here to occupy the old nest position, and they'll probably climb these bluffs next turn. The hero, and his actually full strength unit, are going to move into the draw with the hope of coming up here next turn and clearing this green position. Free action here to remove the climb marker, so next turn this unit will be free to attack 1 or more units. Let's get our Rangers a little bit closer in. All right. So we have a artillery unit here adjacent to a headquarters unit, both of which in the field of fire of the yellow artillery position. So remove this climb marker. So I actually think that I might be able to use an artillery barrage against this unit if one of these guys has a radio. Yes, they do. Okay. So let's quickly review. This is a slightly more advanced action than the standard tank barrage because the requirements to activate artillery are a little bit more strict. So, looking at rules section 8.4, I suppose, is the barrage action. And that specifically discusses a tank unit. I might not actually be able to get this guy to help. Okay. The section on conducting a barrage specifically mentions that tank units conduct the barrage. So we may not be able to get that guy to help us. And it would require maybe a little bit more study to figure out where he comes in. I know that he can help out support an infantry attack and be activated by the adjacent command. So for now, we'll just leave that be. So I've done my free actions on this side of the board, with the possible exception of activating any of these tanks. And really, there's no reason not to. All these tanks activate for free. So for instance, I can have this tank here shell this red position and try and suppress it. Let's do that. Mark moved. Okay, so that's strength 2, diamond against red. I got the red. I think at strength 2 I need both, however. German with a depth marker is unaffected. And this guy has his depth marker, so now look there. We'll have the unit in the hex with the HQ. Assault yellow, and he also has a depth marker, so I'm looking for a yellow diamond is really what I need for that to work. Nope, no luck. I got the yellow but not the diamond. Alright. So this is good. I actually have 2 activations remaining, and and of course the general himself. So let's get the general to climb up here, and he'll be able to help that unit activate next turn. Okay. So I actually have 2 unit activations remaining, and I'll go ahead and bring these guys in to the intense field of fire. This may be a terrible idea because I'm 2 step losses away potentially from losing on this side, but we'll just have to go for it so I can hit that position. So that'll be one of our activations. And let's see. I guess we can take the other activation, having this tank barrage the brown position here. Alternatively, we can get the heck out of the brown kill zone. Nope, I gotta protect. So we're gonna go to pull a brown diamond. That's what we're going for here. Brown triangle. I'm sorry, brown triangle, and we got it. So we actually do disrupt this position. Whew, that may be a big save. They still might activate, but probably not. Okay, so that was the west beach. Back over here to the east beach. I still have all of my moves to do. I'll leave this disrupted marker until the end. I guess, as we have been doing, I can continue by starting with my free moves. Let me, boy, let me consider doing this. I will have this guy move here as his action, just climbing the slope. This guy move here. I will move up the tank. These guys will come up, climb their slope. Yeah, I think this is what I'm doing. Oh, and of course I'll move this guy in as well. Okay, so those were all the free units that were free moves that were affected by being in proximity to the HQ. So this is why HQs, leaders, and heroes are just so important, is they actually give you the opportunity to conduct those actions. So now subsequently I will be able to activate this guy for an action. Actually, this entire stack, which they have the same things. That's terrible. But I'll be able to activate this stack later for an action, but they were able to get in position because of the headquarters. So this is good. This is good. I'll take this for now. So I've got 2 activations to consider using. Oh, and I lost my tank unit that was going to support this guy. That's suboptimal. Let me get ready to do kind of a big attack. So one action will be for this unit to cross and get ready to assault. That'll hopefully be next turn. I think the other action is going to be for this unit to crawl up behind the 75. Now we're going to take just a quick break here, folks. 1 second. Okay, folks, we are back. Checking the stream. Stream is up. Okay. So we had taken one action to move Mike into a good attack position for the 88 nest. He's actually in a very strong position. And we have one more activation that we're considering how we would use it. And I think possibly a strong way to use it would be to, well, we're going to have to spend a couple activations to get India here somewhere useful. Not looking forward to that. Let's climb one more, though, with Lima. So he'll get a climb marker for climbing the bluff. Okay. So I think those are all the actions. We're getting closer. We're making gains. We're securing positions, but we're not yet there. Not yet there. So let's do end of turn adjustments and go into turn 10. Right. Tell you what, let me do one retroactive thing here. I'm not quite sure about the rules on leaders coming on by themselves, but I don't think, you know, like the general wades ashore all by his lonesome. So I think what he does is he comes on with a unit. So for now, we'll do that. Okay, so no units are going to land this turn, but the general and his artillery will come on. You notice we've got a pretty good we got a pretty good leadership going here with this HQ. What we could use some help with is here in Fox Green and getting some activation. So we're going to have the general come in on the east side of the beach. And that's that for next turn. So event phase. Okay, add a depth marker to one German unit. I don't like those events. I much prefer the ones that give me heroes. Okay. One closest to a US unit. And if equidistant, we will do a 1 hex position. So this guy's fine. Fine. Okay, this guy gets one, potentially. As might blue. I think all these guys already have theirs. Okay, so this is, but he's lowering the priority because he's a 2 hex position, even though there's only one of them left. So I think green and blue on these beaches are our priorities. Within position type of a 1 hex W and the lowest number, it gets priority. So between those two, 62S is the priority. So he will get a depth marker. Just in time for me to try and attack him too, shucks. And that was it. Okay, so let's move on to the German fire phase, starting here on the east beaches. We will have artillery again, more than likely. We'll have to count it up, but I see them probably having their totals. So, yellow is disrupted, so they'll lose their disruption. Blue doesn't have a sufficient number of markers, and green activates. Alright, so this is a problem. So green will inflict 2 step losses, and the first one's going to be to this unit in a steady field of fire, and the second one is going to be a circle an intense field of fire. Then it's going to be a circle and a steady field of fire. So as of right now, I don't see one. He doesn't have the armor symbol, so he can't hit the tank. Oh, here we go, I'm sorry. This is also an intense field of fire, so he will unfortunately hit that unit. That's being hit by the green position. Okay, and then we have artillery. And so I need 3 of 75s, 88s, and 105. So here's a 75, that's 1. Here's a 75, that's 2. And here's a 75, that's 3. So they all meet, and that's before I count the offboard. And they will inflict a step loss on this guy. Okay, moving on to the other beach. I've got yellow needing 2, which he does. Purple and green. So we'll start here with yellow. Yellow starts by hitting triangles and intense fields of fire. I think all the intense fields of fire are clear. Yep, that's a steady field of fire. So now we're looking for triangles and steady fields of fire. Well, the guy right next to him takes it. That's our 7th major step loss. Nope, and this might be game, show map. We do have, actually, let me add a step to him. Step up. See if the vassal module caught that. It did. Okay. I made a mistake. Both of these units are intense fields of fire for yellow. So this guy steps down, and this guy's eliminated. Ugh. Okay, so we are 1 loss away from just having the 29th Division collapse. That's yellow. Let's take a look over here at purple. Okay, this is important here. This star means they can damage a leader, but the leaders have to be the last ones to take the step loss. So purple can inflict 1 step loss, and it will do so first into a steady field of fire, intense field of fire, where there is no one, and now triangles and steady fields of fire, which will be this unit. Okay. And then finally green. And green has the same restriction. He can inflict 2 step losses, but really there's no one in his field of fire. So that is that. Okay, so not a lot of sense here doing much. Green, purple, and yellow activated, which clears most of the beach. Purple, green, yellow, yeah. Okay, so no clearing there. And on the other side of the beach, we've got, 1 second here, folks, real quick. And we're back. Okay. Yellow, blue, and green, with yellow actually not firing. So blue and green. No, actually, so I can move this out 1 hex. Okay. And we'll remove the no longer applicable disruption. U.S. action phase. Okay. Again, well past self-preservation moves that we actually get an opportunity to do quite a bit of attacking. So we will have both of these units attack this unit here. In fact, let me do this. So that HQ unit should be able to activate the artillery to attack that green 75 position, which should then allow us to, if we need it, have the artillery keyword. So let me real quickly glance through that rule again. Here we go. Tank, anti-tank, and anti-air must be within range with 1 or more of the following conditions met. And so notice, were I to want to include attacking with this unit, has unlimited range. The unit is adjacent to the target hex, the unit is adjacent to an attacking infantry unit, or the unit is in command of any HQ or general, which it is. And at least 1 attacking, oh okay, I'm sorry. So that was the tank, anti-tank, and anti-air. This is an artillery unit. Here are the requirements for artillery. In range, but not adjacent. In command of a headquarters, but not a general. That is also in command of at least 1 infantry unit attacking the position. The artillery unit, if it is not armored, it may not be in the field of fire of an undisrupted German unit. So that's actually going to be the kicker, is this headquarters serves the purposes of allowing me to have these artillery units, these two artillery units, attack this position. However, they are in fields of fire of undisrupted German units, so they essentially can't set up their artillery. This tank, however, can. So let's do this. Let's put you to the top of the stack. So activating from this headquarters is going to be these 3 units are all going to be activated attacking this position. Excellent. So they will flip. Both keywords are provided, and I exceed by oh boy, that's actually interesting. So one of these units is attacking across the slope, which brings the makes that hex side increases the German defense. The other unit is not, however. So I'm curious, with a multi-hex attack, what happens? Oh, never mind. If attacking through multiple hex sides, consider the attack happening through the hex side terrain that is the least advantageous to the German defenders. So, no doubling here. I'm bringing 12 factors against this 3, which means I get to reveal the depth marker. The depth marker says DE, which is something that the full strength units bring with them. So, all told here, I'm bringing 16 attack factors against 4 attack factors, so that's plenty of hurt. I have everything I need. It's at least double, and it's revealed. So the depth marker is eliminated, and the position is disrupted. It seems a little bit slow doing all this. That's because the time increments in this phase of the game, each turn is very short. It's 15 minutes. A little bit later, in the second half of the game, the turns get longer, and the lethality of the forces is greater. Essentially, you do the same amount of damage in the same amount of time, but because the turns are longer, it's less turns and fewer card pulls to do so. In the other games in the series, they have longer time periods of a turn by default, and so you'll actually find more movement is available on the map and more lethality. So okay, good. Disrupted another German position, eliminated depth marker. And thankfully it's an artillery position, so hopefully we'll be getting less artillery thrown at us. Let's see what else I have up my sleeve. Let's go ahead and activate... Well, first of all, let's remove the climb marker here, and this disrupt marker I forgot to pull off last turn, so we'll leave that but not have this guy do anything quite yet. Okay. So we'll have the stack attack, and that'll be one of the actions. Action taken, and we'll see what we got here. Okay. 1 strength point needs a bazooka against it. I don't have a bazooka. I have 8 strength points, but no bazookas. So I don't have the required weapons. I'm at least double, and it is a German unit by itself. So I've disrupted the position. So there's something. Oh, which interestingly now means that my unarmored artillery can actually be useful. A lot of disruption on this beach. A lot of disruption. I like it. Okay, so now I got to consider how I'm bringing the armor requirement to this 88 position. That's tricky. But I need to get that guy out of that hex. Alright. I don't know what to do with my other action there. Well, I'm going to wait a turn to get this guy out. I'll let the general land and move people. Guys use his action. I could do this attack, which would essentially be no effect. I mean, I won't be able to. Even if I attack with both of these units, which I don't have the actions for, I couldn't get rid of that unless I've got attrition. Well, either way, I don't have the actions. So perhaps what I'll do is I will use an activation to bring this unit forward a hex. Yep, that's what I'll do. Okay, moving over here. Bah humbug. Well, I guess I can get a little bit of work started here. I'd like to go after this, either this green position or this red position, which this guy will take for me. So I'll mark him as action taken. And let's go for the green position as the one that threatens my other unit the strongest. So we'll do that. So we'll reveal, it just requires a Bangalore, which I have, and a strength of 1, which I more than double. So I'll get a chance to reveal that depth marker. Armor. Fantastic. Okay, so, oops, I do need that flipped still. Okay, and so here's actually an optional thing I might take. So the strength is 2 to my 6, but it requires an armor, which I do not have. And really, I've got no easy way of getting over here, unless I use the HQ to scoot this tank and use a radio. Bah. So what I'll do here is I'll use the German's Disruption and Optional Attrition. I will take, it's like rolling the dice. I'll take the step loss to remove the depth marker and disrupt the position. Okay. That, again, with how close I am to the catastrophic loss over here, I think that might have been too risky, but, well, that's where I'm at. Okay, so I'll have these guys climb, attack, though, in position to attack those two, mark, climb, here we go. Okay, these guys will sneak into position, hopefully join soon. Okay, I'll try again a diamond red pull. These guys can be activated by the HQ. So mark him moved. Oh, diamonded red. I'll take it. So I've disrupted this position as well. Oh boy, this is good. Next. Let me... This group can be activated by the general. So this group will go ahead and activate for free. And they'll attack the 75 position. It requires a mortar and a bazooka. I have the bazooka, I don't have the mortar. So, it's a, I don't have the required weapons. I do more than double the required strength. And it's got an unrevealed depth marker, so at the very least I've disrupted the position. That's good. Boy, I like all these disrupted positions over here. Finally, where have you been my whole life? And now I've got to consider what's next. What I can do is I can overstack in this hex and just eliminate the one-step unit, which I think I will do. Okay, so now next turn I've got a concentrated target, but it's still something strong to attack with. I could perhaps fan out a little bit. So I still have only taken one action, so let's see. Oh, and I have a hero unit here that I can use as well. Let me... Yipe. Let me move the hero here, and perhaps we can attack up the slope at this. Is that a slope or is that a bluff? That's a bluff. Alright, never mind. Can't attack up a bluff, but I could climb. So we'll do that. Okay. Still just the one action taken. Guess I'll use this other action to move this tank out of the intense fire section, and that'll be that. So you can see once you start to get these leaders on the board, things start moving a lot quicker. I would say it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to lose by catastrophic losses, but I think we're out of infantry units more or less to suffer catastrophic losses. These guys are looking pretty good over here. Here are 2 units, but they're going against a disrupted position. Here's a unit. All of his enemy units near him are disrupted. So we're looking pretty good. What I think I'll do is I'll leave the stream for now and post a note probably in the subreddit just kind of saying how it went. I'm still really worried about this, the brittleness of the side. I think it's very likely to suffer another step loss. But we see that we've taken several positions away from the Germans. We've disrupted several of the positions as well. And even, boy, this side looks so paper thin. But we got a little bit of something going here. So with that, we'll sign off and say goodnight. Good night, everybody.